Hey, so I figure if you're gonna do a movie review channel, you may as well start giving credit to the guys behind the camera. So that's what I'm doing today. Obviously, you've already read the title. Pretty straightforward, right? I'm gonna count down my favorite directors. So starting off with 9 and 10, it's a bit of a cheat. I'm cheating already. But it's... Okay, ignore what I just said. I just want to add another director here as my actual number 10. David F. Sanberg is somebody I forgot to mention when I was writing down my choices and when I was recording this, so I'm just adding this in here. This dude is awesome. He has directed some really solid horror movies like Annabelle Creation and Lights Out. And then he went on to do Shazam, which I'll be honest, I don't love, but... he also has a YouTube channel, and this I feel like is kind of what differentiates him from other directors for me. This is what makes him such an inspiration to me, kind of learning what his story is and seeing his behind the scenes stuff that he kind of makes all these videos about. He just explains in very realistic, underground DIY do-it-yourself type of terms, like everything he does, pretty much. He does on the cheap, he does things himself, he prefers to do things himself, and he kind of... I feel like he's a guy who's comfortable with solitude. He reminds me of myself a lot, and he's really funny, and I don't know, I kind of just love the guy. Maybe even more than the movies, I love the guy himself. I don't know, just... with his YouTube channel and everything, he comes off as a huge inspiration to me. I also really loved Lights Out when it came out in 2016. I was a big fan of that. And Annabelle Creation was a really delightful surprise when it came out. I was not expecting much from that. Again, not the biggest fan of Shazam, but I mean, he made a good movie. It is what it is. It is, I believe, what he, set out to do. It just doesn't click with me that much. I find it a bit childish. That's really my only issue with it. But it's solid, it's good, and they're all good. And I think more than anything, more than me loving his movies entirely, I think that he's one of the directors in my mind who shows the most promise for kind of stuff in years to come. Like, I'm expecting great things from this guy. And he also makes all these horror shorts and stuff that he also releases on his YouTube channel. And they're just impressive as hell. The dude tells such a good story and is able to bring up these, emotions of being scared. He's able to make these legitimately scary movies that are 40 seconds long to 5 minutes long or whatever, like usually 2 or 3 minutes. Like, they're impressive as hell. So I really wanted to mention this guy. I'm kind of ashamed of myself that I forgot to mention him in the first place. Phil Lord and Chris Miller. Now, these guys are known for doing predominantly animated stuff like Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs and the Lego Movie is what they're really known for because of their meta humor and stuff. Like, the Lego Movie really took off and it super deserves it. It's great. What I love them for personally though is 21 Jump Street. It's my favorite comedy of all time, I think, if not one of. And clearly when you look at these highlighted movies that I've mentioned, like, their humor is constantly strong. It constantly comes through. It's this very particular type of sense of humor that really suits me. It's the meta kind of stuff. It's the making fun of the film itself kind of stuff. And it's really clever. These guys are awesome for their sense of humor. And yeah. That's all, moving on. Number 8 is Drew Goddard. This is the guy that did The Cabin in the Woods and Bad Times at the El Royale, which is a particular favorite of mine. Both of those are actually. Those are the only movies that I've seen from him. And those might be... I don't think he has that many more. He's a fairly new director, but those two straight out of the gate gets me super hooked. I'm super excited to see what comes out next from this guy. And yeah, I think that there's a really, there's this strong through line with this guy in that it's very creative, very original stuff that works well with a great, big kind of cast. That clearly shows in both of these two movies. I also think that he's really good at kind of screwing with the genres. He flips things on its head, like the horror genre he did with Cabin in the Woods, obviously, and then the crime kind of Tarantino type of thing that he does with Bad Times at the El Royale. It feels really creative, though very much based on other things that he loves, if that makes sense. I feel like he creates something new of pieces from other things, if that makes sense. And yeah, I think that's awesome. 7 is Leigh Whannell. I always say Whannell, but I'm pretty sure it's Whannell, but whatever. This is the guy that wrote the original Saw and went on to write 1 or 2 more Saws after that. And then the Insidious movies and The Conjuring. And then he finally started directing with Insidious 3, but really proved himself behind the camera when it came to Upgrade in 2018. Upgrade. Oh, Upgrade was special to me. It came at exactly the right time. It just Upgrade. I can't even explain my love for Upgrade, and I was so excited to see Leigh Whannell back at it and doing more integral stuff when it came to the making of the movie rather than just being a writer. He's really proving himself. He's just started out directing in the recent years, but like, I mean, undeniably they're good. And I mean, most recently, obviously, The Invisible Man was a solid film as well. Yeah, I'm kind of like a super fan of Leigh Whannell, even though I don't know how to say his name. Yeah, because he's like a massive inspiration to me, because he's from Melbourne as well, which is where I'm from, and I don't know, it's cool. And I'm just super impressed with his stuff. He's also in the first Saw. He plays Adam in Saw 1. Saw the first one. Saw 2004 Saw. He's Adam. 6 is Shane Black. This guy knows dialogue and knows chemistry and comedy and action and crime amongst the comedy. But really where he excels is that comedy, the fast, quick-paced dialogue, the quips between characters, that kind of stuff is what I'm all about, and it's definitely what Shane Black is all about. If you haven't seen Kiss Kiss Bang Bang or The Nice Guys, please do so immediately. Finish the video first, but then immediately get to it after that. He also did Iron Man 3, which is a particularly sort of unpopular movie because of particular choices when it came to a villain. But personally, I loved it. I think it's the best Iron Man movie, and I think that he brings really strong charm to that movie that is just, everything Shane Black does is hilarious. And I love it, except for Predator, because I didn't see Predator because I don't care about Predator. But the highlights that I've just mentioned, I very much love. 5. Okay, this one feels like it's a little too early to say. I feel bad saying it. And in the same way that Drew Goddard hasn't done that much, and in the same way that Leigh Whannell hasn't directed that much, I still gave them a pass because, well, Leigh Whannell's been writing films for years and years, and Drew Goddard was, well, number 8. So it felt okay giving somebody that's only done 2 movies the ranking of 8. You know what I mean? But when it comes to number 5, we're getting into the top 5, and I'm doing another director that's only done 2 movies. But Jordan Peele, both of the movies that he's made so far are just masterpieces. Just straight up masterpieces. There's no way around it. Like, Us is this brilliant movie that I do think Parasite kind of took away a bit of that, but still, I still hugely appreciate it. And it's more of a horror movie. It's different from Parasite. They were just going for similar themes, and they were kind of similar. But I still love Us. I'm not taking that away from them. But really, I mean, when you want to get to talking about Jordan Peele, obviously the superior film, one of the best movies, definitely one of the best horror movies, is Get Out. I don't think there is like one person on this earth who doesn't like Get Out. It's clearly cleverly put together. It's clearly riveting in terms of, being scared for the protagonist in the movie. It's clearly just awesome. I don't know how else to say it. Get Out is awesome, and if you don't like it, you're probably racist. I don't know. Number 4 is a very, very, very obvious pick, but I had to do it. It's true. I can't deny it. There's my fucking shrine of him right there. Quentin Tarantino, okay? He's my number 4. I know. It's a lame pick. I know. It's an obvious pick. I know. Everybody who ever makes videos like these ever is going to say that Quentin Tarantino is probably on their list, unless they don't like him for personal reasons, like the weird stuff he's done. Like, I don't know, he did something with Uma Thurman. I don't know, he's done inappropriate things. I don't know about that very much. Point is though, beyond all that, whatever you think of the guy personally, whether you think he's a creep or whatever, or you think that in his movies they say the N-word too much, which is probably fair, if you don't like the violence, if you don't like this or that, whatever. I get that. But me personally, you can't say the Django Unchained, Inglourious Basterds, The Hateful Eight, Kill Bill, any of the Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction. You can't say that any of those are bad movies. They're just straight up not. They're just, I don't know. I'm kind of looking at my list like I'm kind of conflicted. Maybe he should be number 1 because that is its strong goddamn filmography. But then there's Jackie Brown and then there's Death Proof. I don't have either of those. Because I don't love those ones. I do want to get them, just to complete the collection, but I'll get them at like a thrift shop or whatever. I'll get them for like $1 or something. You know, I'm not paying full price. Anyway, that's not the point. It's time to praise. Why am I talking shit? It's time to praise. Quentin Tarantino is a master in all things goddamn cinema, and we all know it. And I think if you say he's not, you're either a liar or an idiot. I'm sorry, but I just kind of do. Number 3 is Edgar Wright. He brings this special, I don't know. He brings warmth to my heart. I love the quick-paced editing. I love the tones that he brings to all of his movies. The kind of light-hearted, but I don't know. He can pull off emotion as well. This guy, there's nothing that he can't do. Edgar Wright brings this high energy to each of his films, and they are just easy, painless movies to watch. Like, you're never gonna get bored during an Edgar Wright movie. They're just straight up the most fun. They're so intelligent in the humor, and they're really tightly scripted as well. Like, everything has a callback. Everything is in these movies for a reason. He's so methodical, but he makes it look easy. He makes it look effortless. Like, everything works so perfectly in every single one of his movies. If you don't know, just because I've been listening to all the other ones like Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, The World's End, and Baby Driver, his highlights. He's done a few more, but those are the main highlights that come to mind when you think Edgar Wright. If you haven't seen any of those, get out of here. Number 2, I've always called this guy my number 1 favorite director in the past, and it pains me to say that maybe he's not quite anymore, and it's really only because of a shift as of late. James Wan, I think, is fantastic. I think he can do horror better than anybody on this earth. Just by the way, this is the guy that directed Saw 1. He's basically best mates with Leigh Whannell, which is funny to say because they were kind of a team together for quite a few years. They were doing the Insidious and Conjuring movies together, and I love them as a duo. Love them so much. So yeah, James Wan did the first Saw movie, the first 2 Conjuring movies, the first 3 Insidious movies, Dead Silence, this really good one called Death Proof. So yeah, I mean, you know, he's a horror guy. But something that he does that's so far superior in terms of the genre compared to a lot of the other movies that come out these days is that, again, like Edgar Wright, like, he has such visual flair for all of his movies. The camera work that he has in all of these movies, he always does something creative, something inventive with like moving the camera across the room in some particular way or like some sort of thing like that. He's also fantastic at like not giving everything away straight away. Like, he's really good at visual reveals, and you know, I mean, to dumb it down, I guess jump scares is what I'm talking about, but not just jump scares. Like, he'll have creepy things in the background and stuff, and like, just everything is framed so perfectly. James Wan is just fantastic when it comes to camera work and direction and all that stuff. But because he's so good at that stuff, he kind of got swooped up from the old Hollywood boys, and has since, disappointingly to me, went on to do bigger and, I'm not going to say better things, just bigger things. James Wan went on to do bigger things. Big blockbuster movies like Fast and the Furious 7, which arguably is one of the best ones, but it's still a Fast and the Furious movie. And then he went on to do Aquaman. And look, these are fairly solid films. They're good. Aquaman is super dumb fun, and well, so is Fast and the Furious 7, obviously. But I just wish, like, it's not just the genre change that bothers me. He can do other things besides horror. I'm all for him kind of exploring different genres. It's just that I wish it wasn't major, boring blockbusters like this, you know? I wish it was more small-scale, inventive stuff. I wish he'd do, like, a drama, maybe even a comedy. I don't know. Look, I'm not gonna call him a sellout, because I still think he's making great quality content. I feel like there's nothing James Wan can't do, but he's kind of selling himself short at the moment for just doing the big blockbusters, and I don't know, it's a little disappointing to me. But in saying that, I mean, if you look at the DC movies though, I mean, Aquaman's got probably the best action compared to at least most of them, and you know, same goes for Fast and the Furious 7. I think he did a great job. I just wish he would do better stuff. Still, what he does from here on out doesn't take away anything that he's done prior. And with his filmography, I mean, I absolutely love James Wan. He's a huge inspiration to me. I really admire his work, and I hope that he does do some more small scale stuff in the future, and it's not just blockbuster type stuff. Now I just want to do some honorable mentions, because that's what you do when you do top 10 lists on YouTube, right? So starting off with the honorable mentions is Rian Johnson. Maybe a very, very unpopular pick. I don't know, people who hate The Last Jedi are probably gonna want to punch me in the face right now. I really like The Last Jedi personally. I don't think it fits super well with The Force Awakens. I think it's okay, and then it clearly shows that wasn't where J.J. Abrams was intending to go after Rise of Skywalker came out. I'm getting war flashbacks for that shit. Anyway, it doesn't matter, because Rian Johnson also did Looper, which is fantastic. Recently, Knives Out, which blew me away. I love Knives Out. And he also did some of the very best Breaking Bad episodes, which is something that people might not know about him, including the infamous Fly episode. But he also did the 10 out of 10 episode Ozymandias, which is art. Let's be honest. Next up is Brad Bird. This is a big Pixar director. I'm not like super familiar what entails a director's job in animated movies that well, I guess. But yeah, obviously he's doing something right. Pretty much every movie that he's done is great. And then he went on to do Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, the best one. He did the very best Mission Impossible, and Tomorrowland in 2016, which personally I actually think is pretty great. It's very not that well liked though, from what I've heard. But when I saw it in cinemas, I've only seen it the one time to be fair, but I liked it quite a lot. God damn it, I'm literally editing through this video and I just remembered somebody else that I didn't include on the list, so this is just another last addition. It's Matthew Vaughn. I love this dude. He directed Kingsman, which is awesome. Kingsman 2, which is not as awesome, but still it's pretty good. One of the best X-Men movies, First Class, Kick-Ass. The dude's awesome. He just does really fun, action-y kind of stuff. And the other one that I wanted to mention that I forgot to mention when I was writing this is Mike Flanagan with The Haunting of Hill House, and with the movie Hush and Gerald's Game, and I don't know, a couple others. I reckon he is pretty awesome. While I don't think his movies are quite as great as kind of some of the other directors I'm mentioning here, I do think that The Haunting of Hill House really brings him into this status. I think that show is absolutely amazing, and he directed every episode of that, so I don't know, I really feel like he deserves a mention. I'm quite a fan of that guy. I'm looking forward to seeing what comes out of him, especially when it comes to the TV side. Another honorable mention that I wanted to mention is Wes Craven, creator of Scream and Freddy Krueger himself in Nightmare on Elm Street. Classic horror, and he deserves a mention. And number one, I've really screwed myself here for picking a director whose name I don't super know how to pronounce, but I'm gonna go for it. Are you ready? It's Denis Villeneuve. I think that's how you say it. Could be wrong. But yeah, Denis Villeneuve did Arrival and Sicario and Prisoners. Oh man, this guy knows what the hell he's doing. Arrival is a masterpiece. It's just a masterpiece. It's ingenious. I love it so much. It makes me think so much. It gives me an existential crisis when I watch it, but it kind of comforts me as well. I don't know how to explain what feelings Arrival gives me. It gives me all of the feelings. Sicario is what, from another director, I reckon would probably be a boring as hell generic crime movie, but he turns it into this masterfully just character-driven crime movie instead, with Emily Blunt being the main character, being introduced into this crime-riddled world, and see how it affects her, and see who wins in that situation, and the kind of the things that people are capable of. Sicario is great. And then, of course, there is Prisoners. And Prisoners is one of the best movies that's ever been made, ever. It's such a sad, slow movie, and like, if you're not in the mood for it, you're probably gonna have a hell of a bad time, but trust me, when it comes to Prisoners, the performances are fantastic. Some of the best acting I've ever seen in my life. But everything about Prisoners is done to such perfection that I feel like maybe Denis Villeneuve is a robot and not actually a human, because it is the most perfect thing ever, except for a few more that I like slightly more, like Nightcrawler. But it's fucking up there, I tell you that much. Okay, that is all. I am done. We are done. That's the list. The list is over. You can leave now. But before you do, if you like the video, like it and comment on it and subscribe to me and share the video and share my channel and share everything on the internet, please. Thanks. Yeah, if you like my choices or whatever, let me know and stuff, and list down below what your choices are, all that kind of stuff. Let's get all the interactivity stuff going on, you know? That'd be cool. Thanks for watching. Appreciated. From me, I appreciate it. And you'll see me next time in my next video, which I don't know what that will be, because this is how filming works. I haven't scheduled that out yet. What do you want me to say right now? Alright. Goodbye.